really stop to think about alcohol? I mean, we often see it as this human invention, right? Sophisticated, maybe even modern.
Yeah, something we crafted.
Exactly. But what if its story didn't start in a brewery, but like way back millions of years before humans were even around? And what if a lot of what we think we know about it, how it affects us, its place in society, is actually, well, kind of myth?
That's what's so interesting, isn't it?
So today we're doing a deep dive. We're looking at alcohol's really surprising ancient roots, how it actually travels through your body, and its, well, often devastating impact.
And our mission, based on the sources we've looked at, is to cut through the noise.
Yeah, separate the facts from the fiction, give you a shortcut to being genuinely well-informed on this.
Because it touches on biology, chemistry, history, society. It's fascinating how this one substance connects all that.
Okay, so let's unpack this. We think distilleries, maybe ancient brewers, but you're saying the origins are like way older. Older than humanity.
Oh, absolutely. The whole thing starts with something completely natural. Fermentation.
Fermentation, like with bread or yogurt.
Exactly like that. But think fruit, really ripe fruit, full of sugar. These sugars attract yeast, you know, that tiny fungus that's everywhere. Yeast eats the sugar. It's its food source. And through a basic chemical reaction, it spits out two things. Carbon dioxide, which usually just floats away, and alcohol. Ethanol.
Wow. So it just happens out there in nature.
It's happening constantly.
Yeah.
Which leads to this idea scientists call the drunken monkey hypothesis.
Drunken monkey. Seriously.
Yeah, well, the name grabs your attention. The idea is that millions of years ago, our primate ancestors would find and eat these overripe, naturally fermented fruits.
Okay.
Now, the alcohol level in wild food is usually super low, like maybe less than 2%. Not enough for a buzz.
Right.
But the hypothesis suggests that over vast stretches of evolutionary time, our ancestors developed a tolerance for it, maybe even a slight preference for those calorie-rich fermented fruits.
So it's like a possible evolutionary reason why humans can handle alcohol today.
It's one potential explanation, yeah. Still a hypothesis, mind you, but it really makes you think about our biological connection to it. It wasn't necessarily about getting drunk back then, maybe just accessing calories.
That's wild. So our ancient relatives weren't hitting the jungle bars, but maybe getting a tiny evolutionary edge. But humans definitely figured out how to harness this, right? Our sources mention some amazing finds.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
History picks up the trail. Archaeology shows pottery from, 7,000 BCE in Jiahu, China. Traces of fermented stuff, rice, grapes, honey.
7,000 BCE.
And even older. There's evidence, like 13,000 years old, of beer found in a cave near Haifa.
13,000 years. That's incredible. So how did they do it back then? Was it complicated?
Surprisingly simple. Based on natural processes, take grains, wheat, barley, soak them in water, leave them open to the air at the right temperature. Wild yeast floating around will just start fermenting it. Boom, you got basic beer.
Wow.
Same with grapes. Their skins naturally have yeast. Crush them, let them sit, and you get wine. Basically, anything with natural sugar or starch can ferment.
So this isn't just beer and wine. Our sources mention a whole range of drinks.
Exactly. All over the world. You've got rice wine, apple cider, banana beer, which is big in parts of Africa, chicha from corn in South America, toddy from coconut sap.
Even sourdough bread.
Yeah, even sourdough has trace alcohol from fermentation, though lactic acid is more the point there. The principle is the same.
It really sounds like nature's own brewery. But the strength, the alcohol percentage, that varies a lot, doesn't it?
It does, significantly. Wine might be, say, 9 to 15%. Beer, maybe 4 to 8. Rice wine can go higher, 12 to 16%. Cider, similar to beer, 4 to 8.
Okay.
But here's a really crucial warning from the sources. Natural fermentation doesn't just make ethanol, the alcohol we drink. It can also produce methanol.
Methanol, isn't that the really dangerous one?
It's extremely. It's toxic. Even small amounts can cause blindness or instant death. So, this idea that natural automatically means safe, it's just not true with fermentation. It can be dangerous.
Right. That's a sobering thought. Okay, so if natural fermentation has this limit, how strong it can get, how did we end up with stuff like whiskey or vodka, which are way stronger?
That's where human ingenuity comes in. See the yeast, the little organism doing the work? It actually dies off when the alcohol concentration gets too high.
Oh, it can't survive in its own product?
Pretty much. Around 18 or 19% alcohol the yeast gives up. Fermentation stops. That's the natural ceiling.
So humans figured out a workaround, like we hacked the system.
Exactly. We invented distillation. That's the key innovation.
How does that work? Distillation?
You take your fermented liquids, your basic beer or wine, and you heat it. Now, alcohol boils and turns into vapor at a lower temperature than water does.
Okay.
So you heat it carefully, the alcohol evaporates first, you capture that alcohol vapor, then cool it down so it turns back into liquid.
And that liquid is...
Much more concentrated alcohol. You've essentially separated the alcohol from most of the water.
Ah, I see. And that's how we get spirits.
Precisely. Distill wine, you get brandy. Distill something like beer, you get whiskey. Ferment and distill sugarcane or molasses, you get rum.
What about vodka or tequila?
Vodka often comes from distilling fermented potatoes or grains, the things you wouldn't just drink fermented. Tequila is from distilling the fermented blue agave plant.
Wow. So these distilled drinks, they can get up to, what, 30, 40, even 60% alcohol?
Easily. And then, of course, we often mix them with other things to make cocktails.
But here's the kicker, right? Despite all these different sources, grapes, grain, sugarcane, potatoes, it all boils down to one thing.
One single intoxicating substance, ethanol, chemically, C2H5OH. Whether it's in beer, wine, rum, vodka, from your body's perspective, it's all the same molecule causing the effects.
Okay, so let's follow that molecule. What actually happens inside your body when you drink? Why does it make you feel the way it does?
Right, the journey. It starts the moment it passes your lips, down the esophagus into your stomach. About 20%, a small amount, gets absorbed right there through the stomach lining.
Only 20%. Where does the rest go?
The main event happens in the small intestine. That's where most of the alcohol, the other 80% or so, gets absorbed very quickly into your bloodstream.
And I heard there's something like a gatekeeper between the stomach and the intestine that affects this.
You're thinking of the pyloric sphincter. It's a muscle, basically a valve. Now, if you've eaten food, your stomach is busy digesting, and that valve tends to stay closed longer.
Ah, okay.
This traps the alcohol in the stomach for a bit, slowing down its entry into the small intestine, which means slower absorption into the blood. That's why drinking on a full stomach delays the effects.
And on an empty stomach?
The valve is open, alcohol flows right through to the small intestine, gets absorbed super fast, bang, the effects hit you much quicker and harder.
That totally explains why sometimes one drink feels like nothing and other times.
No.
Wow. Now what about fizzy drinks? Does mixing alcohol with soda or champagne actually make you drunk faster? Is that real?
It is real. The carbon dioxide, the fizz, actually increases pressure inside your stomach.
Okay.
And that pressure seems to push the stomach contents, including the alcohol, through that pyloric valve into the small intestine more quickly. So yes, fizzy mixers can speed up intoxication.
Fascinating. So once it's in the bloodstream, where does it go?
It travels everywhere, but it tends to concentrate in organs with a lot of blood flow. The two big ones are your liver and your brain.
Right, the liver. That's the body's detox center, isn't it? What's its plan for dealing with alcohol?
The liver is critical. It has specific enzymes to break alcohol down. It's a two-step process. First, an enzyme called ADH alcohol dehydrogenase converts the alcohol into a substance called acetaldehyde.
Acetaldehyde sounds chemically...
It is, and it's actually pretty toxic stuff. This molecule is largely responsible for that awful hangover, feeling the headache, the nausea, feeling generally lousy. It's literally a poison.
So the hangover isn't the alcohol itself, but this byproduct the liver makes.
Largely, yes. It's your body reacting to that toxic intermediary. But thankfully, there's a second enzyme, ALDH aldehyde dehydrogenase, that quickly jumped in.
To clean up the mess.
Exactly. ALDH converts that nasty acetaldehyde into harmless acetate, which your body can then easily break down into water and carbon dioxide and get rid of.
Okay, so the liver has a system, but it can get overwhelmed, right?
Absolutely. Your liver can only process alcohol at a certain fixed rate, roughly 1 standard drink per hour, though it varies a bit. If you drink faster than that, the alcohol starts to build up in your bloodstream.
And that's your blood alcohol concentration, or BAC.
That's your BAC, yeah. It rises because the alcohol is coming in faster than the liver can take it out. That's what police measure with breathalyzers, the amount of unprocessed alcohol circulating in your system.
Okay, makes sense. But the effects we feel most acutely are usually in the brain. Why does alcohol make you feel relaxed, maybe even sleepy?
Yeah, the brain effects are key to the experience. Alcohol messes with your brain's communication system, the neurotransmitters. It mainly targets two critical ones.
Which ones?
First, it boosts GABA. Think of GABA as the brain's main brake pedal. It calms things down, slows nerve activity. Alcohol makes that brake work harder.
Okay, so more braking.
And second, it reduces glutamate. Glutamate is like the brain's main gas pedal, keeping things active and firing. Alcohol puts a damper on that.
So more brake, less gas?
Exactly. You increase the inhibition and decrease the excitation. Neurons don't connect as easily. brain processing slows down. That's the chemical basis for feeling calm, relaxed, less anxious. And in higher doses, that slowing down leads to drowsiness and sleep.
What about the good feelings, that temporary happiness or euphoria some people chase?
That's another part of it. Alcohol also triggers a release of dopamine, the feel-good chemical involved in pleasure and reward.
Ah, the dopamine hit.
Right. And it also releases endorphins, which are your body's natural painkillers and mood elevators.
Yay.
So that combination, the GABA-glutamate slowdown plus the dopamine endorphin boost, creates that temporary sense of well-being or comfort.
And when does that feeling wear off?
The main intoxicating effect starts to fade when your liver's processing speed finally catches up and starts removing alcohol from the blood faster than it's being absorbed or reaching the brain.
How long does alcohol actually stay detectable in the body?
It varies. In your blood, maybe up to 12 hours. Breath, 12 to 24 hours. Urine, usually 12 to 24 hours, but maybe up to 72 if it was heavy drinking. Saliva, around 12 hours. Get this in your hair. Traces can linger for up to 90 days.
90 days. Wow. Okay, so that's the short-term journey. But the sources stress that regular drinking over time, that's where the real damage adds up. Let's talk long-term effects.
Yeah, the long-term picture is much more concerning. Chronic alcohol use physically damages the brain. We're talking about brain volume actually shrinking.
Yeah.
Neurons can get smaller or even die off.
Shrinking. Which parts are most affected?
The frontal lobe seems particularly vulnerable. That's your executive function center, decision-making, focus, emotional control. Damage there explains why long-term heavy drinkers often struggle with irritability, impulsivity, and managing emotions.
That sounds serious.
It is. The hippocampus, which is vital for memory and learning, also tends to shrink. And this ties into alcohol-induced blackouts.
Blackouts. You mean just forgetting stuff?
It's more profound than that.
Yeah.
It's when heavy drinking effectively prevents your brain from transferring short-term experiences into long-term memory storage. You're conscious, you're interacting, but later you have no memory of it because the memories were never actually formed. Like temporary amnesia, almost.
That's disturbing. And the liver, working so hard to process it all, it must take a beating long-term, too.
Oh, absolutely. Liver damage from alcohol typically follows a Graham progression, often in 4 stages.
What are they?
Stage 1 is fatty liver. Fat literally builds up in the liver cells. The good news is, at this stage, it's often reversible if the person stops drinking completely.
Okay, that's hopeful. What's next?
If drinking continues, it can progress to alcoholic hepatitis. This is inflammation. The liver gets swollen, tender, painful.
Still reversible.
Sometimes, but it's getting more serious. Stage 3 is fibrosis. Now, scar tissue starts forming in the liver, replacing healthy tissue. It's becoming less efficient.
And the final stage?
Cirrhosis. This is the end stage, and it's generally irreversible. The liver is heavily scarred, hardened, and struggles to function at all. This often leads to liver failure, which is fatal without a transplant.
Wow. Brain, liver. But the sources say the damage doesn't stop there, right? It affects the whole body.
That's right. It's systemic. Think about the heart. Alcohol weakens the heart muscle, can cause irregular heartbeats, high blood pressure. All this increases the risk of heart attack and stroke significantly.
What else?
The pancreas can get inflamed pancreatitis, which is incredibly painful because digestive enzymes essentially start attacking the pancreas itself. Kidneys can suffer damage too, and the whole digestive system takes a hit.
How?
Increased bile production can cause things like chronic diarrhea. Alcohol irritates the stomach lining, leading to ulcers, which are painful sores that can even bleed internally.
And I remember reading something about the immune system, too.
Yes. Even just one episode of heavy drinking can suppress your immune system for up to 24 hours.
One time.
One time. And regular drinking, even if it's occasional, leads to a chronically weakened immune system. That's why heavy drinkers tend to catch colds, flu, and other infections much more easily. They're just more vulnerable.
So the takeaway here seems to be, even if you only drink sometimes and think you're fine, biologically, there's always some kind of cost. Inflammation, maybe slightly higher blood pressure, increased risk. Your body is noticing.
Exactly. There's no free pass, physiologically speaking.
Okay, with all that biological reality laid out, let's tackle some of those common ideas, those myths about alcohol that just seem to persist. Our sources really take aim at a few big ones.
Yeah, let's bust some myths. Myth number 1, and it's a huge one. The idea that there's a safe limit for drinking.
Right, like drink in moderation.
The World Health Organization is crystal clear on this. No amount of alcohol consumption is safe for your health. 0. Any amount carries risk. That message really needs to sink in.
No safe level. Wow. Okay, what about red wine? We always hear it's good for the heart, antioxidants, all that.
That's myth number 2. Yes, red wine has antioxidants from the grapes, but you can get way more of those antioxidants just by eating grapes or other fruits and vegetables.
Ah,
The potential tiny benefit from those antioxidants is completely dwarfed by the negative health effects of the alcohol itself, the ethanol. A study mentioned in the sources from 2025 found basically no difference in cancer risk between red and white wine. Neither is healthy. It's clever marketing, mostly.
okay, red wine health benefits. Debunked. What about the idea that beer and wine are somehow softer or less harmful than spirits like whiskey or vodka?
Myth number 3. This is a really common misconception. Your liver, your brain, your body, they don't know or care if the ethanol came from beer, wine, or liquor.
Mm.
Ethanol is ethanol.
But the percentages are lower in beer and wine.
True, but people adjust how much they drink. A standard serving of beer, wine, or a shot of spirits typically contains roughly the same amount of pure alcohol, around 10 to 14 grams. So the idea that you can't become alcoholic from beer or wine, or that they're inherently safer, is just false. The total amount of ethanol consumed is what matters.
Got it. Okay, one more. The old belief that a shot of brandy or something warms you up on a cold day.
Ah, yes. Myth number 4. A classic and a dangerous one. Alcohol makes you feel warmer temporarily.
Why?
Because it causes vasodilation. It widens the blood vessels near your skin surface. Blood rushes there, making your skin feel warm.
Okay, so what's the problem?
The problem is, while your skin feels warm, your body is actually losing core heat much faster to the environment through that dilated skin. Your internal body temperature drops. So drinking alcohol in the cold actually increases your risk of hypothermia. You feel warmer, but you're getting colder.
Wow, that's completely counterintuitive and actually dangerous. Okay, myths busted. Now, sometimes people say, even knowing the risks, look, it's my life, my choice. But the sources argue strongly that alcohol's impact goes way beyond just the person drinking.
It absolutely does. That argument ignores the huge ripple effect on families and society. The sources highlight some stark figures. For instance, in India, studies show women whose husbands drink are more than 3 times likelier to face domestic violence.
3 times? That's horrifying.
It is. And think about drunk driving. In the 2020s alone, India recorded over 8,000 accidents linked to drunk driving. That resulted in over 300 deaths and thousands more injuries. Each one of those numbers represents a shattered family, a life cut short or permanently altered.
And the kids growing up in homes where there's heavy drinking?
The impact on children is devastating and often lifelong. They experience higher rates of anxiety, depression, trauma. They're also more likely to develop addiction problems themselves later. Growing up with alcoholic parents often means witnessing violence, experiencing neglect or abuse. It creates a deeply toxic and unstable environment.
It's truly heartbreaking. And maybe the scariest part of alcohol woven through all of this is just how addictive it can be. How does it get such a grip on people?
It's insidious because it directly manipulates your brain's fundamental wiring, the reward system. Remember the dopamine and endorphins we talked about?
Yeah, the feel-good chemicals.
Alcohol provides a quick, easy chemical shortcut to triggering those. Your brain learns, alcohol, pleasure relief. So it starts to associate drinking with solving problems or feeling better, whether you're celebrating sad, stressed, angry.
It becomes the go-to coping mechanism.
Exactly, for any and every emotion. And that's the slippery slope to dependence and addiction. The brain starts craving that chemical fix.
And the addiction itself changes over time, right? It gets worse.
Yes, it typically progresses. First comes tolerance. Your body adapts. So you need more and more alcohol to get the same effect you used to get from less. People sometimes mistake tolerance for being able to handle their liquor, but it's actually a warning sign of dependence building.
Not a strength, but a sign of a problem.
Precisely. Then, as tolerance grows, you might reach alcohol dependent syndrome. At this point, drinking isn't really about feeling good anymore. It's about needing alcohol just to feel normal, to function. You might hear people say, I can't think straight until I have a drink. That's dependence.
And if someone who's dependent tries to stop,
that's when withdrawal hits. The body, now accustomed to alcohol's presence, essentially revolts when it's taken away. Symptoms can be severe. Shaking, intense cravings, nausea, vomiting, extreme anxiety, panic attacks, insomnia, even hallucinations and life-threatening seizures in some cases. Withdrawal makes quitting incredibly difficult, physically and mentally, often requiring medical help.
The statistics cited in the sources really drive home the ultimate cost of all this. They're quite stark.
They are incredibly sobering. Just looking at India in 2016, alcohol use was linked to almost 300,000 deaths among men and over 40,000 among women. That accounted for nearly 5% of all male deaths in the country that year.
And globally.
Globally, the numbers are staggering. 2.6 million deaths per year attributed to alcohol. That's also around 4.7% of all deaths worldwide. And the connection to suicide is strong.
How strong?
A review of multiple studies found alcohol was involved in about 40% of suicides globally. Some individual studies put that figure as high as 73%. It's deeply intertwined with mental health crises.
There's also a mention in the sources of this awful cycle involving poverty.
Yes, a truly vicious cycle. In many poor communities, villages, urban slums, alcohol is often cheaper and more readily available than essentials like clean water or basic health care.
Really?
Sadly, yes. Liquor shops sometimes specifically target daily wage laborers who might spend a significant chunk of their small earnings seeking that temporary escape, trapping them further in poverty.
It's exploitation.
And the danger isn't just the alcohol itself, but sometimes what's in the bottle. Exactly. Especially for the poorest, the risk of illicit or counterfeit alcohol hooch, moonshine, is huge. This stuff is often contaminated with highly toxic methanol or industrial spirits because it's cheaper to produce.
The methanol we talked about earlier.
The very same. It causes blindness or death. The sources estimate over 22,000 people in India have died from drinking toxic fake alcohol in the last 2 decades alone. It's a horrifying public health failure.
It paints such a bleak picture. But amidst all this darkness, the sources do offer a powerful story of hope, of recovery.
Yes, thankfully, there's the story of Amit. He sounds like he was the perfect son, great student, respectful, initially no interest in alcohol at all.
What happened?
After college, social drinking slowly crept up. Occasional drinks became daily drinks. His behavior changed. Relationships suffered. There was violence. It got so bad, his family basically gave an ultimatum. Get help or you leave.
That must have been rock bottom. How did he turn it around?
His family, in a last-ditch effort, found Alcoholics Anonymous AA, the global fellowship. They treat alcoholism as a disease, not a moral failing, and provide peer support.
Was it easy for him?
Far from it. The sources describe his recovery as incredibly tough. He had severe physical withdrawal, stomach issues, constant cravings, but he clung to the promise he made to his family.
And today?
Today, 10 years on, Amit is 47. He's a successful entrepreneur living a stable, normal life, but he still attends AA meetings daily. He sees addiction as a lifelong condition that needs constant management. But he's proof that recovery is absolutely possible.
Amit's story is so important. It shows it can be done, but it takes immense commitment and support. What are the key lessons we can take from that?
I think the big ones are: recovery is real, people do get better. Admitting you have a problem is the crucial first step. And seeking help, whether it's AA, therapy, medical support, is a sign of strength, not weakness. There should be no shame in it.
For anyone listening who might be struggling or maybe worried about a friend or family member, what concrete resources do the sources mention? Where can people turn?
There are definitely places to go. The government runs a toll-free helpline, 1446, for confidential support and counseling.
1446.
Alcoholics Anonymous, AA, has groups everywhere. They're free, anonymous, and based on mutual support. You can find local meetings through their website. And then there's professional medical help. Doctors, counselors, rehab centers, medication to help manage withdrawal and cravings. The right help is out there.
So the next time someone says, come on, just one drink won't hurt, maybe pause, maybe share some of what we've talked about today, maybe challenge that pressure.
Yeah.
And perhaps next time you're out, think about reaching for water H2O instead of alcohol C2H5OH.
Okay.
It's definitely safer, probably tastier in the long run, and certainly healthier, because as we've seen, that one drink really can be the start of a cascade with devastating consequences for so many.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Considering alcohol's natural origins, yet its undeniable biological harms, the immense social costs, the dangers of illicit production, what's our collective responsibility as a society when it comes to how available alcohol is and how deeply normalized its consumption has become?
A big question indeed, something to mull over until our next deep dive.